Welcome back to the Kaspa Silver YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be addressing some of Davinci Jermie's concerns that he has with Kaspa. And hopefully this may clear up all the things he's brought up. A lot of the things he said, I think, is simply just lack of research. But there are some concerns that he brings up that are valid, but should not be taken as extreme as some people have taken it online. So let's go ahead and hear what he has to say about Kaspa in this video here.
My concern is this might not be secure. And here's why. Bitcoin had only like one hard fork. I think it was that where you had to, everybody had to upgrade, or maybe two. I might be wrong about that one, but I think it was only one hard fork. And I've opened up the application right now, their Kaspa application, and it doesn't work. And why is that important? Why should their application always work, right, no matter what, and not require updates? Even though they're pretty early, application, but they're still, they've done a very good job with the application itself, and their protocol should be solidified. The reason why proof of work has no use case, has no value, if you have to upgrade everybody all the time. Why?
All right, I'm going to stop it right there because in the beginning he says that Kaspa is not secured and then goes on to try to prove why it's not secured, but then goes into how the KDX wallet, when he's trying to run it, it's not working all the time, and now going into how Kaspa needs to be upgraded to fix things or whatever. So really, this actually has nothing to do with the security of the Kaspa network. Kaspa is still secured. The things he's bringing up are just valid things that do need to be updated with Kaspa, like their application on the website known as KDX, which a lot of people do have problems loading up. And the main issue is the fact that when you are loading up KDX, you have to sync up to the node, and this DAG sync right here needs to say 100%. This can take up to 2 hours because when you run KDX, you are literally running a Kaspa node. But there are tons of other options you can use to store your Kaspa and access your wallet than KDX. And not only is KDX a version of Kaspa wallet that needs to be upgraded, there is a brand new wallet that is being developed right now called Kaspa NG, and Kaspa NG will be a lot more better than KDX and will no longer have these issues where people feel like it's not working, but really what it is they need to wait for their DAG to sync to 100%. Currently, I'm waiting for the DAG to sync to 100% because it's syncing with the node, and this can take up to 2 hours. But if you don't want to do this kind of waiting, you can use things like the Caspium app. You can use cold storage devices like Ledger, OneKey, or Tangem, or you can use some other wallet applications like the OneKey app, which also lets you have a Kaspa wallet on there. You could also use the web wallet, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's probably like the least secured web wallet for Kaspa. But I'm going to go ahead and show you here Kaspa NG, and here's the website to Kaspa NG. But you can see here that says, please note this is an alpha release. Kaspa NG is still in early development and is not yet ready for production use. And everyone should know this if they do their due diligence and research on Kaspa, that Kaspa is an unfinished project. It's only been around since 2021. So obviously, I have even mentioned this in the past in videos that there could be delays on developments. There could be bugs that need to be fixed, but just do not believe that Kaspa is going to be a perfect project. In fact, no project is perfect. He even mentioned it himself that Bitcoin has had some hard forks in the past, at least one. It's also gone through a few soft forks and whatnot. And those things are present in pretty much every single cryptocurrency project. The important thing is that people are informed about what's really going on here. But Kaspa NG will be the successor to KDX, and you will no longer have to connect to a node because this can be a desktop wallet. This is going to be a website wallet, which is what I'm on right now. And it's also going to be a Chrome extension wallet. So it's basically going to be all those three things, and you are not forced to connect to the node. you're going to be able to connect to public nodes, and this will extremely help the adoption for Kaspa. I also have a in-depth video of Kaspa NG right here. It says massive development upgrade for Kaspa, KDX successor KNG. So I agree with him that yes, this project does need a lot more work, but this actually has nothing to do with the security of the network. Kaspa is still very secured, but let's just keep hearing what he has to say in this video here.
Because you can send out an update that says, well, that the transaction didn't happen. You get it?
Yeah, fair enough. So you override the entire network.
Exactly. You can tell everybody that this transaction didn't occur, that this happened, or something else happened, or there's going to be more, right? And if you allow that once, and you allow that twice, you allow that multiple times, the government will say, you're going to allow that to happen the way we want it, if you're big enough.
Now, here he is talking about that someone can push an update where transactions that happened in the past were no longer valid, or you can even add more coins to the network. And he's not wrong about this. This could happen, but the thing that he's missing is the fact that these updates are never forced. All updates are optional for Kaspa. So if an update was pushed that does any kind of changes, you can clearly verify it because Kaspa's code is completely open source. For example, the KDX wallet is a open source code wallet, and you can view it on GitHub right here. This is KDX, and you can literally analyze any changes that are made before you download the latest KDX update. And anytime an update is pushed out, we all agree to update or not update. So really, this is not really much of a concern because yes, the developers could try to push an update that do some kind of changes to the network that would be very bad. But the thing is, we, the people, get to choose if this update is good for the network and if we should upgrade or not. This has actually happened in the past with Kaspa, where there has been something that's happened, a bug that caused nodes to basically become unsynced to the network. And there was a time period where everyone was pretty much forced to update. And I actually made a video about this over here called Kaspa Black Tuesday Network Crash. And this video explains a hard fork that happened within the first 2 weeks of Kaspa because the network experienced a bug. And it's kind of funny because Bitcoin also suffered a bug where pretty much everyone did have to upgrade. And this is the day someone created 184 billion Bitcoin, and if you didn't really upgrade, then you pretty much kind of would not be part of the better upgrade here. But it says this fork erased all transactions in mining that had been recorded on blocks that were produced after the bug blocked. It also disposed of the 184 billion bugged Bitcoin. The update Bitcoin patch 0.3.10 was implemented by Bitcoin's synonymous creator Satoshi Nakamoto, and basically, he was able to push out this update and people upgraded their nodes so that it will no longer regard this 184 billion Bitcoin that was created. Bugs can always happen in these cryptocurrencies. And even though Bitcoin went through this bug back in like 2010, look where it is today. It doesn't matter. Kaspa itself went through its own bug within the first 2 weeks of its launch. And look where it is today. It doesn't matter. These kind of upgrades and changes happen all the time, and it's important to note that these things are never forced. So there's not really much to worry about if things are getting upgraded or changed as long as we're able to verify it and there's transparency. Where with Kaspa, this is very, very important. Transparency is all over the place. I'm going to go ahead and look into other stuff that he has said recently in the past week. He says here, the reason Kaspa hard forks make the system insecure in the long term is not only because individuals with sufficient power can enforce a negative change, but also because a single error could potentially devastate the system. And this concern is valid. And like I just described, this happened in Bitcoin. There was a bug that happened and an error needed to be fixed. And so he's worried about the unknown, which this is in every single cryptocurrency project. There's probably an unknown bug in Bitcoin that we don't know about that may appear one day. I mean, ordinals on Bitcoin was never thought to be possible, but now they are because of a recent soft fork that was introduced that made them possible. And now some people think that ordinals is a bug itself and Bitcoin should be changed to no longer have ordinals on the chain. And he also says here, note the error may not be seen by the dev team or others looking at it because of the complex nature of the software and show up years down the line. And this is true. But this is not a concern that basically just makes Kaspa like a scam or Kaspa just completely invalid to be a worthy contender in the space. I mean, if you even listen to what he says, if you watch this video over here, he says he has a big bag of Kaspa still. He even wants to show that he thinks Kaspa is going to go to $10 in this cycle. So truly, he's just trying to point out some of his concerns, and some of his concerns are valid, but some of the things just don't make sense at all. Another one that did not make sense at all is, in my opinion, Kaspa does not solve the trilemma. However, the Kaspa coin still adds value to the cryptocurrency space, and I look forward to the innovative approaches development team comes up with in the future. The problem with this is just his opinion, just like everything I say on here is my opinion, and you should never take whatever I say or Davinci says as fact. You should always continue to do your research and look for other information, but his opinion has no sources. It's just him stating what he believes is true, where there's tons of research done on Kaspa that it does solve the trilemma. I have this video here called Kaspa Completes Satoshi's Original Vision, Trilemma Solved, which is a very great in-depth video, almost 40 minutes long, that goes into how Kaspa does solve the trilemma. And the person writing this article was a ex-Binance US researcher for listings and whatnot, but this was his conclusion of the whole entire article. He says block DAG theory as a generalization of Nakamoto consensus therefore achieves high scalability. Even more so, scalability is achieved while increasing the security of original Nakamoto consensus and maintaining its decentralization. Thus, we can say the blockchain trilemma is solved. And if you read the whole article, it will prove why he has come to this conclusion. Shai has in-depth tweets about how Kaspa does solve the trilemma. This is a famous tweet of him that he has links to show how it solves decentralization, scalability, and security. The sources are all out there. And people asked him, hey, why do you not think it solves the trilemma? He didn't answer anyone, but this person asked the question, do you think Kaspa's coin adds value despite not fully solving the trilemma? And he answers, while the code base is centralized, the nodes are not, and if the protocol hardens, a hard fork that does not change will be amazing. This statement right here is just simply not true. The code base is centralized. Even Shai, which is one of the core researchers of Kaspa here, says the code base is not in any way centralized. It is an open source and has several independent contributors. Please have a look at the repo and PR history before making such claims. And like I already addressed before, Kaspa is fully open source. It's on GitHub. It's literally being developed in the same similar fashion of Bitcoin. And a lot of people don't even realize this. If you look into Bitcoin and the amount of people who run nodes of Bitcoin and what software it is, they mainly are using the software known as Bitcoin Core. Bitcoin Core is very similar to what we have for Kaspa with KDX, and like more than 90% of people use Bitcoin Core when they're running software for Bitcoin, and these receive updates all the time because there's things that need to be fixed or whatnot. So you could see over here, there's Bitcoin Core 25.0, there was Bitcoin Core 22.0. Bitcoin Core version 22.0 is now available from bitcoin.org, and this is the bin file. And then look at this. This is a GitHub for Bitcoin Core's software that mostly everyone uses on Bitcoin. And this is the same thing that KDX has. It has its own GitHub with open source software. The code is not centralized. There's just no evidence to prove that this is the case. And then his last statement here saying, if the protocol hardens a fork that does not change will be amazing. And I agree with this. Kaspa doing hard forks is something that is not just being done without any worries of making sure it's done correctly. Kaspa hard forks are to be done with much testing, and this is exactly what is happening. In fact, you can even test the new hard fork that will be coming in the future, which is Kaspa 10 blocks per second, if you go to kaspang.org, and you can go down here and you're able to change the mainnet right here. You can switch over to instead be on testnet. If you go to the settings over here, you can see Kaspa network, and you can go to testnet 11 and then hit apply. And if you go to testnet 11, it will then connect to a public node that's running testnet 11. And this is 10 blocks per second on testing version of Kaspa. And now you could see over here that I'm connected to testnet 11. And if we go to the block DAG visualizer, you could see 10 blocks per second in action being tested. And this has been running for over about a month and a half because they're trying to make sure that the network would actually work when we try to implement this on the main network of Kaspa. This is the amount of dedication that goes into this hard fork. This has been being worked on and tested for over 2 years. This hard fork is widely accepted by the whole entire community because it's necessary to scale Kaspa even more than what it already does. Kaspa currently is only doing 1 block per second, but 10 blocks per second can process 3,000 transactions per second instead of just 300. If I go back over here to the mainnet of Kaspa, you can also see how much slower it is, the blocks processing is compared to the 10 blocks per second. This is 1 block per second, and you can see that it is a whole lot slower than what we were just looking at with 10 blocks per second. So really his concerns are, some things are valid, but a lot of things are just really not something to be heavily concerned about. And one of my favorite tweets that I saw from Wolfie over here responding to this is, who would you bet on? And he points out that Davinci Jermie is a self-educated software developer. I myself am a self-educated Kaspa researcher on YouTube. I obviously am not some professional here, but the founder of Kaspa is a postdoc at Harvard University. He has a verified email at Harvard for Harvard University. He cited over 3,741 times in different locations for research papers that are behind white papers of other cryptocurrencies. He's also behind trying to upgrade Bitcoin to the Ghost protocol he's mentioned in the Ethereum white paper, and it goes on and on and on. So who would you bet on? Some other opinion crypto influencer who is just simply putting out his opinion with not enough evidence? Or would you bet on the founder of Kaspa, who actually has a lot of background and research behind him, proving that he's a certified person in what he is doing and what he's creating here on Kaspa? So I hope this pretty much addresses all the concerns that Davinci has had in the past week. I was not going to make a video about this, but I decided to because a lot of people just kept asking questions about it and wanted to be sure about what's going on, if they actually should be concerned. Personally, I'm not concerned at all. Some of the things are valid, but I pretty much explained everything in this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here. And as always, don't be average, be different.